Welcome to another episode of Survivor Squared. It's the New Year's special, and I wouldn't want to kick off 2026 any other way. We're talking to the wonderful, the hilarious Troyzan, talking about Survivor One World, Survivor Game Changers, but most importantly, breaking down Season 50 and what we think's going to happen, and maybe some predictions on who we believe is going to win. It's a wonderful conversation. Troyzan is a wonderful human being. We talk about how he's living in a jungle right now. We also talk about a wonderful story where a chance meeting with some Survivor greats made Troyzan who he is today. It's a remarkable, remarkable tale and a lovely conversation I had with a great guy. Troyzan is wonderful. But if this is your first time watching the channel, welcome. We go over Survivor and other reality shows every single week on this channel. We broke down all of season 49. We'll be doing elongated recaps on some of the bigger seasons as we build towards season 50. We're also going to be breaking down The Traitors, if you've ever seen that wonderful, crazy, silly little show. A lot coming in 2026, but we couldn't kick it off any other way. So if this is your first time seeing it, give us a like, give us a subscribe, help this channel grow. I do truly appreciate it. Otherwise, sit back, kick your feet up, pop the champagne, and let's listen to Troyzan, and Happy New Year. As I said in the intro, it is the New Year's special, and what a better way to kick off 2026 than with the legend himself. He was on Survivor One World, he was on Survivor Game Changers, and now he is on Survivor Squared. Welcome to the show, Troyzan. Come on in, my friend.
Tony Squares. I love that. I mean, I was going to ask you, like, where is the accent, like, New York? Is it Boston? Is it New Hampshire? I don't, Rhode Island. But it's like, I just love the Squares.
It's an amalgamation now because I grew up in Boston, but I've spent the last 13 years in LA, so it's become diluted. You should have heard me the first time I came to LA. I was like a different creature, but it's still there a little bit.
It is, yeah, it's toned down. I have a buddy from Rhode Island, so he's like, wicked smart. No, he's like, can of tuner. I'm like, can of tuner, bro.
You said you were in Miami now. Have you always been in Florida?
No, I grew up in Washington State. So I grew up in Spokane, Washington. So it's, basically the furthest away from Washington I can get, pretty much. So it's like freezing cold there now. So I just basically ended up in warm water, but in warm climate. Because growing up, honestly, my whole family is like this winter people, and my dad was a state patrolman, and he worked out, in the car. And I was always this kid that ran around like the Mowgli from the Jungle Book, and no shirt, and very short. And they're like, you don't belong here, and honestly, I thought, I don't. So as soon as I was old enough, I actually moved to California first in 1985. I think I packed up the old Trans Am and drove south to I-5 and ended up in San Diego, California. And then I ended up working in Europe, and that's how I ended up in Miami. I had a client who I was living in Europe for 4 years.
Okay.
And then I got a job here in Miami, and I fell in love with. I'm like, what's this place? This is awesome. It's before Miami was actually kind of popular, like South Beach. It was looked a little bit more like the Tony Montana days, kind of run down slightly. But I loved it. So it's and I adopted a marmoset monkey, then I got him a mate, then I had a family of monkeys, so I stayed. So I basically, and now I live just south of Miami in an area called the Redlands. It's towards the Keys. It's like a 10-acre jungle.
I was going to ask about that because we were messaging leading up to this interview, and you said you live in a jungle south of Miami, and you work farmers hours, which means you're up at 4:30 a.m. East Coast time. But walk me through that. What's going on here, Troy?
Well, I used to not do the full farmers hour, but I've always been a morning guy. I don't know what it is. Even on the show. I was always the first guy to wake up. The sun's barely coming up at 4 in the morning on the island. And I'm up ready to go. So it's kind of like that here. It's I just love the mornings. It seems like I get a lot done. I don't really have a farm, but there's a 200 tree avocado grove, and there's plants and stuff growing. But and I used to sell a few things here and there, but I'm somewhat semi-retired. I do get Social Security now, so I'm I just hang out. So it's and people have come to, other survivors have come to visit, right? And they're always bro, come on, you don't really live in a jungle. I'm and when they get here, they're dude, this is really a jungle. There's areas that there's grass and stuff, but then when I take them into the deep part of, the natural hammock of Florida, which,
Yeah.
it looks like a jungle.
My father, when I was growing up, because I was a late sleeper as a teenage boy, as most of us are, and my father, when I was growing up, always used to chide me and say, the best hours of the day are from 6 a.m. to noon. And I used to be like, all right, Dad, whatever, whatever, whatever. And he's right. I'm a morning person as well. 4 a.m. is something different, but I'm a morning person as well. And I'm always up with the sun now, and I love it.
I
I
just
do
feel
love
like
it.
by the time noon rolls around, like now, like I feel like I've
Yeah.
done a lot, you know. So it's
Yeah,
like, but I do
exactly.
get teased. I do get teased a lot, you know. Like Carolyn Weger used to call me, right? And she called like at 10 at night. I'm like, and I barely I look at like, okay, I think I'll ask you, go, "Yeah, come on, you old fucker, wake up. She's like, come on, man. It's like, I'm like, what are you telling me? You know, I'm in bed. And she would always
Yeah.
be like, she would be like, grow up. I'm like, grow up. Come on. That is a grown up thing to do. Go to bed early and wake up early.
I love seeing your photos online and stuff because you're still doing the photography stuff, as you said, setting up shoots on South Beach. So walk me through that because as a young man, I'm very jealous of the life you're leading here, Troyzan. You just get to hang around with
Well,
people in bikinis all the time.
yeah, I know. Well, I used to do a lot more Sports Illustrated stuff, and I have done the swimsuit issue like 12 years in a row, but that's been a while,
Wow.
and it's kind of like I still shoot. I shoot mostly athletes and swimsuit stuff and body, but I'll shoot hotels. I mean, to me, it's like I'll get a job. Someone's like, "Hey, you want to come?" Like I had a job in Fiji once, of all places, and we were
Mm.
doing a shoot there, and their website for their hotel, the private resort, were terrible, and they said, "Well, can we hire you to come back and shoot the resort?" So sometimes those are fun because there's no people and you can take your time. Plus, you're staying at a beautiful resort for free, and you're
Yep.
getting paid. And
Yeah.
sometimes they'll give you like a special trip coming back. So, but yeah, I'm not shooting as much as I used to because I told you before, I'm somewhat semi-retired and I don't mind that. I mean, I
Yeah.
still love shooting. I like working when I'm there and actually photographing. I don't like the business side of it where you gotta, contact a makeup artist
Yep.
and contact this and do and then all the editing. I don't like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I almost wish I had some secretary manager, but I don't want I don't want to pay anybody. So it's like I don't like the business side of it. I just want to
Yeah.
shoot. I want to show up. I actually want to do something with like fans where I have a business with my brother in Alaska. It's Icy Bay Lodge. It's a fishing lodge, and it's remote. You can only get there by bush plane. There's like probably another fisherman within 200 miles, and you got to land on the beach, and then there's a bay where you can fish for like giant halibut, but you can fly fish for salmon on the river. It's one of the only places in the world you can do it. And so I want to take some Survivor fans and kind of have like a fan thing, like, hey, come fish with Troyzan and I in Alaska, remote Alaska, take pictures, do whatever. So it had to be like fans that have a little bit of money because it's not cheap. You have to fly yourself there and then pay for whatever that. But we have a private chef, and so I'm thinking about doing like a photo tour with maybe fans or something.
I love it. I love it. We'll plan this whole thing out. We'll call it travel manager. But you spoke about how Survivor players have come over to hang out in the jungle, how you talked to Carolyn, and I want to jump into this whole Survivor community before we get into what's happening now with Survivor. Because again, I've gone through this year watching Survivor for the first time, going through all the seasons, making the recaps on my channels. It's how we were introduced. And I've been sort of amazed at how open the community is. Not just former players like yourself, but the legions of fans, producers of the show, producers of other shows have been like talking to all of us in the comments and like opening up their arms to welcome me, an idiot watching these things for the first time. So the other thing I noticed is how you Survivor players are sort of like, it's like a club that you guys are like a fraternity almost, where you're welcoming new members left and right. So you came in season 24, One World, and there was already a bunch of Survivor players that had played before. Some have made their mark, some have won, some have come back for other seasons. When you stepped into that world, whether it was during filming or after the filming was done and you guys are on TV for the first time, is there anyone in particular or a group in particular that sort of reached out their wing to you to be like, Troyzan, come, this is how you do it?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because when you get on the show, it's all hush hush hush. And even back when I played, it was way more hush hush. Now it's kind of people can go online. It's like they get like outed like quick. It's like back with us, it was like you go play, no one knows, and no one knows until it's aired. First episode comes out second, and all of a sudden you're in a store. You're in
Yeah.
Big Lots, and you're all of a sudden people are like, "Hey, Troyzan, oh my God, you're Troyzan, right?" Like, yeah, like, oh my God, and you're like, you feel weird because I'm just Troy, right? I was just Troy going in. Troy, I got the name Troyzan out there, and so
Yeah.
when you hear it and you see people freak out, you're like, well, I'm not Brad Pitt. I'm just Troy from, South Miami. But you get that popular, but you really don't know what you are in the Survivor community yet, because some people are reaching out. And, my season aired. Then we had the finale in New York, because they used to do New York, LA. And then, I was kind of disappointed because I really wanted to win. I mean, I took me 11 years to get on the show. I put in casting and when I finally made it, I'm like, my only thing, I have to win this thing. It's my destiny. I really thought it was. And when I didn't win, and I was up for this, fan favorite, $100,000 fan favorite thing, which everyone is like, yeah, I think you got this. I think you're going to win. Even Jeff Probst's wife and her dad would walk up to me in the audience before the thing started. I'm like, man, we loved watching you. It was crazy. You just were like a diver in the rough, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, and even my cast were like, you're going to win this fan favorite thing. And I'm like, okay, great. I'll take 100 grand. Maybe that's a consolation. So it's like one of those where, like, someone's told you're going to win the Oscar this year, hands down. You're sitting in the audience and they announce it and the winner is, and you're like, and they say Kim. I'm like, and I was just like, okay, where's my 100 grand? Like, I was just bummed because, I mean, I thought, well, Jeff Probst's wife is telling me I'm going to win. Like, I'm going to win. So that expectation. So I walked out of that finale low. Like, I was bummed. I'm like, I want to get out of here. I don't want to go eat with it. People wanted to go eat, and my family was there. And I was just like, I couldn't wait to get into the cab and go to the airport because I was bummed. This isn't what I thought Survivor was going to be. I thought it was going to be this big, I don't know. So I was depressed for like a couple of months. And not until I went to there's a charity event in Orlando every year. And at the time it was called Give Kids the World. And I just didn't know what to expect. And I knew survivors were going to be there. But I remember walking in to the hotel and walking out to the back pool deck. And they're sitting in the corners like Richard Hatch, Sandra, Danny Boatwright, Tom Westman. I mean, it was like a whole slew of like winners, and I'm like, Tina Weston. And so I'm like, there's like 15 winners sitting there, and they're all going, oh my God, Troyzan, come here. We got to tell you. I'm like going, what? I remember Danny Boatwright yelling across like the hotel, like, oh my God, Troyzan, come here. I got to give you a hug. You were amazing. I just love watching you. You're a good fighter. And I was dumbfounded because I was a huge fan. And I'm like, never in a million years thought if I would meet Richard Hatch that he would know who I was. I was shocked. And I was like, okay, now I'm a survivor. I really, at the end of that event, I was like, I'm in the family. I'm a survivor. Not until then, I felt like I was really something. And then all the fans were crazy too. They're all like, Anya, and there's a ton of fans there. So it's like, wow, okay. It just my whole demeanor changed about being on Survivor. And so that's why any event I go to, any podcast I do, anybody that wants to talk Survivor, I talk and I love it. And it's like, I still am a huge fan. I mean, come on, I got a Survivor shirt on. I mean, that's my torch, my original torch right there.
That's amazing. I see that
from One World, and I know it's mine because my name is carved in it. But it's such a big impact on your life, and you don't realize it until you come back, and then when you reminisce, it's like everybody wants to talk about Survivor. It's not like one of these, oh God, get over it, Survivor already. Don't you have a life? Everybody, I don't care who they are, even Boston Rob. When I met, he still wants to talk about the show. Everybody still wants to talk about their seasons and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, because this is the kind of person we are, and this is why we're cast, because we're just like focused, and we're type A, and we can't let it go, and we can't just like. I mean, yeah, there's a few of us, but am I a little more of a fanatic than other survivors? Probably, like, bro. Do I wear Survivor shirts more than most? Yeah. I mean, most of them I don't wear a shirt. So it's like, but I'm like, Tony's new. Maybe I better put a shirt on. If I go shirted, like,
you can wear whatever you want or not want on this show, Troyzan. We are an open forum, but that's an amazing story, especially going out and thank you for sharing that. How the highs and lows of not only being on the show but being on TV itself. Because I've talked with some members of the cast of the season 48. I talked with Matt Bischoff from Caramoan, and not everyone has a great ride on Survivor, and sometimes dealing with the aftermath of it is a tough thing to deal with. And I think that's a great story from you, in that community is still ever accepting and ever open. And so pushing that forward, as soon as you started talking about that story It brought me back to when I was in college. I went to school for drama. It was a sort of an offshoot in this big school, this drama department, and it was a very tight knit group where when you're
Right.
going in as a freshman, you're really nervous. Like you don't know anybody, you're coming into new ground for the first time. And I remember vividly the seniors and juniors, the upperclassmen, opening their arms and be like, Tony, don't worry, you're safe here. They did it to every freshman. And so when I
Yes.
became a senior, I paid that forward. All the freshmen that were coming in, hey, come to my house, have a beer, like enjoy yourself, like you're welcome here no matter what. This is a together department. And that's how I feel when I look at the Survivor community. So I turn that then to you. Now that you've played not once but twice, and there are all these new players out there, is there anyone or any group in particular other than the fans that you've sort of opened your arms to and you remember interacting with, being like, hey kid, let me show you the ropes?
Well, I just met a bunch of new survivors like on Saturday at this event, because there's a lot of new players in the new era, the 26 days. They always kind of give them shit like, yeah, come on, 26 days. That's the amateur hour. But there's nothing they can do about it. That's what you're given. So I was like, I don't want to give them too much crap because they probably get a lot of crap anyway because everyone always talks about, 26
Yeah.
is not 39 and the new era is not the same as old school. And the old schoolers are like, old NFL players like, yeah, you guys
Yep.
don't know yet. We used to break our legs
Back
and
in
our
my
we,
day,
didn't- we,
yeah.
we didn't come off the field. We wussies, like, what are you talking about? But it's all kind of in good fun. I mean, I think I tell them, like, even when I'll do a podcast and I'll give someone shit, whatever. I said, listen, we all get shit. It's like and it's kind of in fun. I don't purposely, put people down, but like, it's funny to me. I met a lot of I met Mitch. And Mitch was just like really super nice and really wanted to get my ideas of what. And I think some of these people want to know too what it's like to go back because everybody wants to play again. I don't care who you are, you want to play. I'm more fascinated by people and they're like, oh my God, Troyzan, you're a legend. I'm like, I just never think of myself as a legend because there's a legend to me is like Sandra and
Yeah.
Tony. And, there's like 10 legends to me. And I'm like, when they say that, I almost feel like, come on. And they go, no, really, your name, the way you played, this and that. Like, I say, so do I like the ego boost? Yeah, I do. I don't mind it. Like, and if they want to ask me, so I talked to Mitch, and I met Jake from
Yep.
season. I'm not sure. I get all the seasons mixed up, and it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad because, and I feel bad for them because, yeah, I really wish they would name the seasons because it helps people to
I agree.
remember who they are. And it's like when they took off the theme song for a few years, I'm like, what were you thinking? I remember writing to Matt Van Wigan, the executive producer. I go, what is wrong with you guys? Why would you take the theme song off? That's how people get attracted to the show in the first place. And they see a
Absolutely.
name, they see a face, and they see a name underneath it. So the person watching associates with that
Yes.
person. They think that they know them and they connect to that person. And like
100%.
you wouldn't take friends wouldn't take the theme song off and just start the show. Come
No.
on, man.
Yeah.
It was like the Brady Bunch song. Like it's part of the show.
Put it this way, I believe that you're put in that legend status because it not only is hard to make Survivor, but it's harder to make an impact on Survivor. Like, yes, some people win, but some people make an impact when they're there. And when you did Survivor One World, the "It's my island, you fighting for yourself," like it's something that is standing the test of time. As I'm watching all these seasons, that sticks out to me. And then coming back for season 34, I do want to talk about how we're having season 50 around the corner. All of these players are coming back. Some of them are coming back for the first time. And you in particular, Troyzan, when you were on the season the first time and you came back for the second time, you had a game plan for both of those seasons, or it seemed to be. And that second go-around, you sort of had a difference in how you were going to attack the game of Survivor, a difference in the way you were going to play. So was that a thing you thought about beforehand, entering season 34, like you were going to play it a certain way?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because and you have in hindsight, if I was going to talk to Troyzan going into 34, I'm like, bro, you got to change it up. That's not going to work. But it's like you don't know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you just don't know going in. And my first season, I was like showing a lot. I was like, I just was kind of like, I don't give a shit what I do. I'm going to be myself 100%.
Yep.
And that's what I did. And what you saw, that's really was me. And this is my, I'm kind of glad I said it now because it's like, people don't really remember every little thing you did. They remember a few things, And so if they remember, oh, you're the guy who yelled, "This is my island, don't F with me." Well, yeah, that's me. It's like, so that's a big deal. So, I was such a big character and I was a big target on my first season from like almost day one. You didn't really see it, the target part, until the girls were like, oh, this guy's going to win. We're going to target this guy. So I thought going into season, my second season, Game Changer, I'm like, well, people are really going to be looking at me. So you know, and I think everybody thinks that because we're returners, like everyone's going to be after me. So, and I thought, okay, it's my second chance that I have to win. Like, come on, you're getting the second chance. But in my brain, I'm like, the only way I can win is to get to the 39th day. If I get to 38, who cares? I don't care about 37. I don't care. I want to get to the end. So I was doing things so much under the radar and playing such a low key game that they just didn't show it. And it's like, and at the end, I'm like, I don't know. You know, we don't know what the jury's going to think. You know, you have an idea, and I thought I'm playing a great game. I'm playing kind of like a Sandra under the, you know, if it's not me, I'm under the radar. Everyone liked me. Everyone loved me, honestly. And it was like one of those things. And I tapped myself on the shoulder. They just were like, "You're a great guy. You're funny." It's like, and I thought, well, this is they're going to reward that kind of guy. Every time we come into the tribal council, they'd be flipping off Sarah, looking at Brad like, Anthony, and I'm like, this is good for me. Okay,
Yep.
great. You know, if I
Yep.
go with these two, it's good. But you know, and the thing is, on a season like that, there's so many big characters from day one that they have to show almost everybody. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
in a normal season, if someone gets voted out first, they don't, or second, they don't really show a lot. But Tony got
Yeah.
voted out right. We're going to show a lot of Tony. You know, there's 8 games going on towards the end. You know, and my game is happening just if I would have won. Guess what? You would have seen all of the things I said and all of the stuff. You know, would have been focused towards me. It's one of those where, like, if you're a winner, and say you're in a group of 5, and I come up and I go, Andrea is dangerous. She's got to go, you guys. And then all of a sudden, Sarah goes, yeah, Andrea's got to go. Guess who gets the edit? Sarah, which is fine because she won. But like I said it, so it's like, dude, I don't get the credit. So anybody watching is like, what did Troyzan do? He didn't.
Yeah.
And I tell people, listen, you can't get to the end of Survivor without and just sitting around eating coconuts in the hammock. You're doing something every day, and if you're playing from the bottom, it's even harder because you're really trying to convince people that, like,
Yep.
you know, I'm going along, and no one's following anybody. It's like when you vote together. No one's really like, it's this idea. I think that TV people watch when it's like, well, he's leading the way and everyone's following. No, you're all voting together, so it's equal. It's not
Yeah.
one person's leading another person.
I'm excited to see what they do with the 24 people on season 50 because all of them have reputations, all of them are characters. So you're right, they got to show everyone doing something, and the episodes will be longer for sure. But right from the get-go, someone's going to get voted off first, and we're going to see a lot of whoever that may be. But with all these people coming back, you mentioned how if you could go back and tell the old Troyzan entering Game Changers, like, play a different way. Do you think some of the people on season 50, do you think they're going to try and change their game too much? Like, yeah, maybe you think you did for 34, and like they might have to just go back to who they are, what made them?
I mean, there's some people that are going to have huge targets. The people that only
Yeah.
played once aren't going to have as big a targets. It's the way it was on Game Changers. Anybody that was like a 4-time, 3-time, even 2-time player, they weren't targeted right off the bat. No one's going to. I mean, and no one is going to let a winner win. It's just not going to
Yeah.
happen. I don't think in
Yeah.
any. And only on an all winners. They'll try to change their game. I mean, you can't really change your personality. People think that you can. And even like the newbie players will go in and someone will say, like, well, I'm going to try to be like this or try to be like that. That's fine. It's like, but we all know, like, after day 4 or 5, when you're tired and hungry, whoever you are, deep inside, that's who comes out. It's kind of like even in real life, like we all present to the world what we think is our best version of ourselves, like, and that might not be really the true version. There's somebody in deep down in you who you really are. If you're a real nice guy and you love nature and you're fairly honest, that's who's going to come out. But if you really can lie and you're a bit of a bitch or an asshole, like that's who you are. So it's like that'll come out. I tried to probably change my game too much, and I hope these people, like, here's the thing. You think everyone's looking at you like with this like microscope, like, oh my God, there's
Yeah.
Troyzan. He's gonna go crazy with this my island, and then this is, you know, there's Tony. He's gonna do this. Well, Tony really did. He didn't change his game at all, and it's like what it laughed. And even like Ozzy, I'm like when he played on Game Changer, I'm like, bro, you have a target, and you're known as this like challenge guy. You dive off the ship on day 1, hour 1. And go get the tools. I don't care how good it looks for your tribe. Guess what? Guess who's got the biggest target on their back right now? You, bro. And you're gonna get left. You know, I mean, people are gonna keep you around on the try because you're going to catch fish and you're going to do
Yep.
this. But guess what? The second the merge happens, who's going bye-bye because you effed up because you put a target on your back. It's so like, bro, you're not playing anything different. Like, even
Yeah.
I think Sarah said one time, like, if you get divorced 4 times, are you good at marriage? So it's like, so it's like, some people, and Tony didn't change his game. He goes
Yeah.
running off on game changers, like, I'm going to go find an eye like on day one. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Even as a
Yeah.
joke, that's not a joke. So it's like, I hope, some people like are smart enough to be like, I know I need to change a little bit, but I don't think people are going to really change who they are.
Drastically, yeah. No, I hear you. I agree with you. I don't think there's going to be drastic changes, but I think everyone will try to make little improvements. And I like that insight that you have about how everyone's going to feel like a microscope is on them, because how could you not? This is the biggest season of it all, and you're going to think all these eyes are on you, especially all these great players. I saw in another clip that you picked Chrissy to be the one that you think is going to come away with the victory here. Is there a reason why, or is there someone else that's also on your radar, like season 50 predictions wise? What are we thinking?
I don't know if I actually picked her to win. I would think it was more asked like, who would you be happy to win?
Gotcha.
And so it's like, I haven't really picked someone that I think is going to win, because in my mind, I'm like, until, it's one of those, like when people say, do you have a strategy? Yeah, you do. But like, you don't know until you see who's on your tribe, and you don't know if there's old people, young people so it's like, yeah, even games, you have no idea. So I can't, you can't make a plan like it's a football game, like the other team. You know what I mean? So it's like you're just gonna go out there and it's like, I'm gonna play football. Whoever shows up, and I'll make my decision. The second I'm on the island and looking at everybody. So I mean, I said I would be happy for Chrissy only because I feel she got ripped off in her season. Like I just felt like she kind of boned on that, like that challenge thing. All of a sudden, it's like there's a new thing. Oh, fire down. Ben finds magically in his pocket, like Ben would have been gone in any other season. So I feel like it's one of those.
He was
where
playing.
She
he had the Troyzan role from One World. He was the one where he was all alone and he had to survive by himself. He got
I
idols.
know, but I
you
feel
had
like
community.
I felt bad for her. So like for her to win, I played with Aubrey. Aubrey, I really like a whole lot, and she probably deserves to be a winner. So I would be happy for Aubrey because, everyone was like, you should have won your first season, this and that. And
Yeah.
so, I like her. I think I told everybody. I'm rooting almost for everybody in a sense.
Yeah.
Since I've played, I don't really pick out like people like who's your favorite. I don't have favorites anymore. I mean, I pick people that I like to watch, but I don't have a favorite person. I think only because I played. And plus, am I a little jealous? Yeah, it's like I want to play, so I don't care about anybody else. It's like, I don't care who wins. So it's like I know who I don't want to win, and I've told people this before. I'm not a fan of Ozzy. And I'll make that statement all day long. I got no problem making that statement.
Yeah. Is there any specific reason why? Because I've missed some of the lore here.
There's some. Well, on the show, on Game Changers, you just didn't see it. He just was jerky to me, and he just thought he was all that in a bag of chips, and he's just not to me. Like once I played with him, like you're not everything that everyone thinks that you are, and whatever edit you get. And plus, I'm adamant about this. If CBS and Jeff Probst and SEG and the producers are all worried about, this is a family show and kumbaya and everyone's happy and da da da, well then you don't put a porno star on your goddamn show. Sorry,
that's fair.
That's it.
That's fair. No, I understand it, and I hear you. That makes a lot of sense.
If I had I know people are going to be, oh yeah, come on, man. It's like, because nowadays, I grew up in a different era. There wasn't like stuff, and people weren't just like OnlyFans and everything's perfectly fine. It's everything, and it's a different. I'm an old school guy, and I'm also like, if I had a kid and they started asking me questions about that, I'd be like, well, I don't need to answer those questions. See this, what would you do? Why'd you do that? And you guys played enough. Was pointless. I didn't get that. I missed. I kind of the casting in general. I'm a little bit confused about. So, but it is what it is, and I'm going to watch it. So, as a fan, because I'm always going to be a fan. And Jeff Probst knows that I love the show. I'll always be a huge fan. And I give crap to people, but I always like, what? In the end, It's all good.
We can read that you're a huge fan. Every time I see your face on there, I love the videos you put out there, whether it's cameos or whatever. You're talking about Survivor, and as you said through this whole interview, like your love of Survivor, not just the what it's done for you, but also the community around it. It bleeds out of you, man. Like you are. That's why I wanted to have you on the show. That's why I wanted to have you on the New Year's special, not just because you're Troyzan, but because you epitomize to me what it means to be a Survivor player. Like, you know, you are like you love this world and the world loves you for it. So I'm very happy to have you on here. I do have one more question though before we hang up on the New Year's Eve special. I ask this for every Survivor player. I've had a Squid Games challenge player around here. I ask it for everyone. If anyone listening at home or watching at home, or maybe the guy asking you the question right now wants to find themselves on Survivor, what is the one thing they can do in their audition to make them stand out above the rest?
I always tell people, and I just told a guy the other day, like, you know, I get asked a lot or DM'd or can you look at my tape and this and that. It's like, and you know, other survivors will always say like, you know, be yourself. Like that's just a simple one. Of course, be yourself. But I'm more like, listen, you get yourself pumped up, like get your energy jacked up. If you ever listen or talk to survivors, you can see where we think we're normal, but we're not normal. We're not the normal person, right? So it's like our energy is always high. And remember some story that made you excited or that made you sad, or that it brings some emotion out. Tell that story because you got to be a storyteller. Because if you watch the show, who's telling the story? We are in all those confessionals. What happened at Tribal? What happened in the challenge? This and that. Like Jeff will ask a question to somebody, you know, standing before the challenge. So like you're always like telling a story. So if you can't tell a story, you don't need to be a Navy SEAL. You don't need to be a challenge beast, and you don't need to. You know, they don't care about that. If you happen to be that, great. But it's like they want a storyteller first and foremost. You know, and then they want this storyteller to be this storyteller's opposite, so that there's drama. I mean, granted, there's less drama now in the new era. I don't know why. I wish they would bring it back because it's like everybody from the beginning of time has watched Good versus Evil. They like it. I don't know why. It's human nature. We like it. We like to watch train wrecks. We like to why do people go on the freeway and look at an accident and a car's on fire? Oh my God, Jesus, it's terrible, terrible. Guess what? Oh, yeah, we're looking now. Who's dead? Who's dead? You know, it's like, you know, it's So I always say, be a good storyteller. Tell a story in front of the mirror. You know what I mean? Just remember a story. You know, and drink a damn Red Bull. Get your energy up, and that's it. You know,
you're the first one to come in and say, drink that Red Bull, have that energy, come off the bat firing, and that's going to stand out too. So I really appreciate that.
Leave your mistakes in. If you know, I used to do it where like I told you I have a family of marmoset monkeys, and I set up the camera, and the monkeys would jump on the camera, and they start peeking inside, and like, oh shit, but I left it because it looked like, oh, well, this is really him because. This is the deal. They don't want a practice version like of some perfect actor. They want you to go, oh shit, what the? I shouldn't have said that. See, that's the real person. So they like all that stuff.
Well, I'll make sure to keep all the mistakes in this edit of this interview because it was fantastic talking to you, Troyzan. I truly appreciate you coming on the New Year's special. Is there any place you want to direct people to find you? Instagram, TikTok, the rest?
I don't. Yeah, I haven't. I need to join TikTok because that's part of me is like if I'm going to do this trip in Alaska, I mean I'm going to have to TikTok people. But
you're going to have to get something.
I'm such old school. Yeah, I never did Snapchat or none of that shit. I do Instagram. I'm just Troyzan on Instagram. I'm Troy_Zan on Twitter, and then Facebook. I'm Troyzan as well. So it's like, and then my website is just Troyzan.com, and you can see my photography there. And so it's like, you know, I won't give out my phone number.
Direct email address. Yeah, no, we don't need any of that. Thank you so much, Troyzan. Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to all the fans. I'll be back next week on the road to season 50, building towards a wonderful, wonderful season. And again, couldn't kick off this year any better without Troyzan. See you later, my friend.
Great talking to you. Tony Squares.